All right, so thank you for now. And while we wait for her to get seated, I have Kim Bo-KYOUNG here in the studio with me with details about the latest shift in Korea's social distancing guidelines. Bo-KYOUNG, good to see you again.
Thank you for having me, Sunny.
Right, so do share the details with us then.
Well, Sunny, first of all, the social gathering cap of maximum 6 people and 10 p.m. shutdown orders were set to expire on March 13th. However, these guidelines have been relaxed earlier than scheduled. The new rules in place will allow businesses to remain open until 11 p.m., 1 hour longer than before, while maintaining our social gathering cap of 6 people. The changes will be applied beginning on Saturday, March 5th. And on the medical front, 50% of the country's ICU beds are now in use as Korea continues to approach its Omicron peak. However, health authorities say that unlike the Delta variant, the rate of severe illness and death has been kept relatively low, allowing our healthcare system to stay in control of the situation. With the government's focus shifting towards preventing hospitalizations and deaths, a new approach was needed in its containment strategy. The government was also wary of the financial impact of social restrictions on small business owners.
We have taken into account the difficulties small business owners were facing for a long time, despite the expansion of payments for damage and partial easing of social distancing measures.
The new guidelines will apply to 12 types of public venues, including restaurants, cafes, PC rooms, and movie theaters until March 20th. The authorities added that this latest easing was made conservatively, as health experts had warned that it is still too early for full-scale relaxing of measures. However, they hinted that much more comprehensive easing or lift of restrictions would take place in the next round of changes.
Right. And Bo-KYOUNG, early voting is well underway here in the country. Keeping that in mind, do tell us about the protocols in place for COVID-19 patients.
Well, Sunny, health authorities will allow those who are either infected or are self-isolating to leave their homes or other accommodations on March 5th for early voting and election day on March 9th. However, they must cast their ballots within a specific time frame. On the 5th, for the first time, voters may temporarily leave their homes or quarantine sites at 5 p.m. and must arrive at polling stations before 6 p.m. And on the 9th, voters may also leave at 5 p.m. and voting will take place between 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. on that day. They can either walk, drive their personal vehicles, or use special designated taxis to get to the stations, as they're not allowed to use public transportation. And text notifications that contain voting instructions will be sent to those eligible from Friday noon until 4 p.m. on Wednesday.
Voters subject to special voting can vote at temporary polling stations after showing their identification card, the official government text message, or confirmation or isolation notice message.
Right. Meanwhile, so among those who will be voting separately due to COVID-19 is one person we all know, right?
Right, that is Prime Minister Kim Bo-KYOUNG, who recently transmitted the virus. And he said he's planning to cast his ballot for the presidential election just like all other people in quarantine, according to the guidelines by the health authorities. And he is expected to go to a polling station near his residence for the early voting on the 5th, so on Saturday. And Prime Minister Kim Bo-KYOUNG tested positive for COVID-19, meanwhile, on Thursday, and is currently said to be recovering at home. Kim said he feels a little under the weather and has a sore throat. Kim took to social media to tell the nation's people that he is fine and that he has just become one of the tens of thousands of citizens getting infected every day, and said that his at-home treatment will be an opportunity to empathize with other COVID-19 patients. The Prime Minister is expected to continue his duties online through phone and video calls, while those that inevitably have to be done in person have been cancelled. And that's also why earlier in Bo-KYOUNG's report we saw how the Interior Minister Jonghyun held a briefing at the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure headquarters earlier this morning, filling in for the Prime Minister.
Right. And regarding efforts to ensure safety at polling stations, Bo-KYOUNG, I understand concerns are still there, though.
That's right. Voters with a suspected infection or those who are waiting for their PCR test results are not considered as a confirmed case, so they will be voting at the same time as everyone else. And amid the Omicron wave, coupled with test results coming out later than usual due to delays, there are concerns that this election could spark another surge.
The number of people getting PCR tests is going over 850,000. Up to now, we needed to wait around 12 hours to know results, but now it takes 18 hours. These people could be the cause of more infections.
And adding on to that, people with positive rapid antigen test results that haven't been validated by a PCR test can still vote normally, so this could be another reason for concern.
Right, I see. And on a more stern note, Po-kyung, I hear authorities have also vowed to crack down on voters who abuse their special voting rights.
That's right, Sunny. COVID-19 patients who wish to vote cannot go anywhere else aside from the polling stations and must return home right away after casting the ballots. Anyone who violates this rule could face up to 1 year in prison and a maximum fine of around $8,000. Regional authorities are stepping up their monitoring efforts, although the government has admitted that the large number of people hitting the polling stations on election day could pose serious enforcement challenges.
All right, Po-kyung, as always, thank you very much for the coverage. Have a safe weekend.
Thank you.